What are you doing here? My ex-husband showed up at my door out of the blue. We've been divorced for 5 years now. He straight off demanded outrageous things. Come to my parents' funeral with me. We are going to rekindle our marriage, and I need you to be there. What the hell? What's he talking about? He keeps repeating the ridiculous statement. I gave him a dirty look and lashed out. You and I are strangers now. There's no way I'm going to attend the funeral of your parents, who are assholes just like you. My name is Patty, and I am a 28-year-old office worker. After graduating from university, I was working hard at the company where I started my career and climbed up the ladder. My work seemed to suit me very well, and I felt more alive when I was working. But then something happened that changed my life. It was the encounter with Andy, who later became my husband. I met him through work. He worked for a client company and carried a calm and gentle air that enveloped his surroundings. I was the type to work briskly, so it was refreshing to see him work at his own pace without constraint. And yet he was able to get the job done, so I was attracted to him more and more. As we worked together, we grew closer, and he eventually asked me out. He proposed to me after about a year of dating. I was so in love with him that I accepted without hesitation. Our families were elated, and we had a memorable wedding. Then we went on our honeymoon trip and began our life as newlyweds. We were both working, so we helped each other and shared the household chores. Andy had lived on his own since university and was able to manage cooking to some extent. I appreciated that he was capable of sharing the tasks with me. It allowed me to focus on my work, and I was grateful for having a considerate and dependable husband. Then I got pregnant. While I was very happy to have a child, I wanted to work a little longer. I planned to take a year-long leave to focus on my baby and then return to work. Andy agreed with my proposal. Then the baby was born. She was a healthy little girl. We named her Lydia. Andy was overjoyed, and his parents and I were also delighted to welcome her. After the birth, his parents frequently asked Andy and me when we would visit them again. I didn't dislike them or anything, but when they pestered us so often, I started to grow tired of them. In the meantime, Andy suggested something to me. How about we move in with my parents while you're on maternity leave? It's annoying to arrange my schedule every time we go to see them. Besides, you can have their help with housework and babysitting. I see, that's true. We were living in a rented apartment at the time, so moving out was easy. We could live with the in-laws for a year until my leave was up. They could see their grandchild, and Andy also could take care of his parents. I decided to go along with the idea. He immediately asked them, and they enthusiastically agreed. We got ready and moved to their house. Annie, John, thank you for letting us stay with you for a while. When I thanked my in-laws, they welcomed me with a smile, and then immediately took Lydia from my arms and started playing with her. Sweet little bean, you're so adorable. Lydia was chuckling with happiness, and they were so good to her. I thought I was going to spend a peaceful and enjoyable time with them. But it was only for that day. The next day, I was violently awakened by Annie. "Betty, how long are you going to stay in bed?" I hastily checked the time on my phone and saw that it was only 5:30 in the morning. What's wrong, Annie?" "What's wrong? You're staying with us for free. I obliged you to make breakfast for the whole family. You have to pack lunch for Andy and John too." I was in shock. I didn't expect to be told such a thing all of a sudden. Andy assured me before we moved in that his parents could help me with housework and childcare. Of course, as a housewife, I was going to do my share of chores properly. I never thought that the burden would be more than when we lived by ourselves. I was half asleep when I went to the kitchen. Lydia still cried badly at night, so it was 2 a.m. when I finally went to sleep. It was really hard for me to be up and running at 5:30 in the morning. I was moving very slowly. Annie wasn't concerned about my state and complained frantically. "Why are you so slow? You're taking too long. Move faster." "Oh my God, you're clumsy. So annoying." I had never seen such a frightening expression in her face before, and what she was telling me was unreasonable. In fact, it was my first time cooking in her kitchen, and I had no idea where everything was. I didn't understand why I had to be scolded by her. Then, perhaps sensing that I wasn't happy, she yelled at me again. "What's that look on your face? You got a problem with me?" "No, it's not like that. It's just that I'm not familiar with this kitchen yet. Besides, Lydia cried a lot last night, and I had only 3 hours of sleep. I'd like you to consider that a little more." I tried to be as polite and down to earth as possible as I argued my case to her. She sneered and replied, "I can't imagine what's gonna be like for us from now on if you're like this from day one. You're such a crook, making up excuses like that and trying to slack. I guess a woman with a half-assed career has a half-assed silver tongue, but it doesn't work on me. You're the daughter-in-law of this family. You're going to obey everything we tell you. Keep that in mind." She ordered me to finish making breakfast and lunch boxes, and then she started watching TV as she lounged on the sofa with a coffee. Soon after, Andy and John got up and sat down at the dining table. Annie also joined them, and to my surprise, she started ranting to them about how useless and bad a cook I was in front of me. John commented, "That's not good. We have to educate her properly." I was disappointed in him for taking her words and for making such a statement. My in-laws welcomed me and were kind to me at first, which made me hope that he would be on my side. Andy was Annie's only son, so I thought she was jealous of me taking him from her. When John also started acting cold toward me, it became clear that my in-laws considered me an enemy. My daughter was still a newborn, and I was still in love with Andy, so I didn't think about divorcing him. Andy was on my side at that time, telling them Buddy was doing her chores well at home before. I thought if he protected me, I could get by. Besides, we were only living together for a limited time while I was on leave. If I just put up with them for a little while, there would be no problem. It turned out I was naive. Their bullying became even worse. "Patty, hurry up and go buy the snack I asked you for." "Hey, why haven't you cleaned the garden I asked you to?" "You're so useless." "You're incompetent." They were unreasonable and abusive at the same time. I looked to Andy for help. Guys, don't be too hard on her. That was all he said, and went to lay on the sofa as if he had nothing to do with it anymore. I expected him to be sterner with them, but he avoided making eye contact with me. My in-laws weren't persuaded to change their attitude just because their son gave them a soft warning. They continued to treat me like a slave and insulted me every chance they had. It's a shame to think that Lydia has poor genes from you. I hope Andy's side comes out stronger. I wish you would just leave Lydia with us and move out. I couldn't stand their hostility anymore. What made them think it's okay to deny my personality? They were becoming out of control, so I consulted Andy. Hon, can you do something about your parents? You need to persuade them to stop mistreating me. He frowned at me. I've been doing everything I can, haven't I? You can take care of the rest yourself. I heard you've been skipping chores at home. A neighbor even told me that it must be tough to have a lazy wife. Wait a minute, why would the neighbor say that? I don't know. She's close to my mom, so they must talk a lot. Anyway, don't humiliate me. Are you kidding me? Are you saying that it is all my fault too? No, but if you'd behaved yourself, Mom and Dad wouldn't have complained. I was shocked by his comment. I can't take it anymore. No matter how hard I try, they don't approve of me. Let's just get a place for ourselves again. We've been living here for more than half a year. They must have had enough time with Lydia now. Andy simply refused my suggestion. Why not? I told them we would stay with them for a year. If we leave now, I'm breaking my promise. I don't want to hurt them. Jesus, so will you promise me that we'll move out after a few more months? Sure, I promise. I decided to endure it as best as I could for the remainder of my stay. I managed to get through 5 more months of hell, and the promised 1 year was up. I immediately told Andy we were going to move out. I had even been sneaking out to view many apartments for the day. Since we could move easily, I showed him the information I got from the realtor. He scratched his head and announced something insane. You know, my parents are saying that we should just live here forever. Excuse me? So let's just stay here and not move out. Are you crazy? You promised me, didn't you? We would move out after 1 year. I can't believe you would break your promise. When I accused him, he snapped back. Shut up. I am your husband. You listen to what I tell you. I was stunned to see him suddenly turn red and yell at me. At the same time, my love for him instantly cooled down. Fine, I get it. Then let's get a divorce. What the hell? Divorce? Are you serious? He shouted even louder. My in-laws heard him and rushed into our room. What's going on here? You woke Lydia and she's crying now. I heard you yelling. Don't tell me this thing is giving you trouble. Who was he referring to by this thing? Their behavior seriously pissed me off, and Andy was on their side. Yeah, Dad. This thing wants to get out of here as soon as possible. It's been talking about getting a divorce. When Andy explained, they became furious at me. You're a piece of work. You really are a lousy woman. Get a divorce, Andy. She asked for it, so just get rid of her and let us take custody of Lydia. We'll be a happy family then. Andy seemed to be convinced by her. That makes sense. I haven't done anything wrong. Even if I refuse to divorce her, she's forcing me to leave. That's fine. I'll give it to you. Let's hurry up and file for it, he triumphantly declared. I got ready and went out. Then I brought the divorce papers back home. Oh, you're back. Who's that guy? Andy and his parents were puzzled looking at the man in a suit standing next to me. He's my attorney I've been consulting with for some time. I thought that maybe things would turn bad, so I've been preparing for it. When they heard the word attorney, they flinched. Why do you need him? Did you think I was gonna keep quiet and let you guys get away with it? I recorded all the insults that came from Annie and John with a voice recorder and wrote about them on my blog as evidence. I also kept a record and proof that I consulted you about it. I took all this to my attorney, and he assured me that I had a valid case against you all. So I'm divorcing you and taking Lydia with me. I'm also going to charge you alimony and child support for all the emotional pain and suffering you have caused me. They all turned pale listening to my declaration. They never expected me to be prepared for this. Andy seemed to understand that he was being pushed to the edge of a cliff. Wait, honey. All right, I'm sorry. Let's leave this house and live happily with only the three of us. I'll do as you say. He abruptly changed his attitude, but it was already too late. You and your parents are the three of you now. You three lousy adults can live happily together. If I keep Lydia here any longer, she will be influenced by you guys. I refuse to be with in-laws who enjoy bullying and a son who encourages it. I want you to sign the divorce papers now. He was agitated by my firm stand, but when my attorney mentioned that it'll go to court if he refused, he reluctantly signed them. I was able to get custody of Lydia and get away from Andy and my in-laws at the same time. Andy was to pay alimony and child support, but my revenge did not end there. The evidence I collected was sent to nosy neighbors and Andy's boss. As a result, the unbelievable behaviors of my ex-in-laws spread throughout the community in no time. They were shunned by the neighbors, and Andy was scorned by his co-workers. He worked hard while feeling ashamed to pay alimony and child support. 5 years had quickly passed since the divorce. One day, an unexpected person showed up at my house. What are you doing here? It was Andy. I hadn't seen him once in 5 years, as he had refused to see his daughter. So why did he suddenly show up? His threat of demanded outrageous things. Come to my parents' funeral with me. We are going to rekindle our marriage, and I need you to be there. What the hell? What in the world was he talking about? Why do I need to do that? If you do, that'll give me a little more grace period. I have no clue what you're talking about. He seemed quite impatient and started revealing what had happened since the divorce. His parents got used to making me do all the housework for a long time, and they became too lazy to do it themselves. They ended up hiring a housekeeper, but they are just an ordinary family. It was too expensive to sustain the lifestyle, and yet they could not give up. So they started borrowing money from a loan shark. Andy was shunned by female co-workers at work. and was in agony from being unable to meet women. He tried to make a move on the housekeeper and was reported and arrested. He got fired from his job afterward and had been unemployed for a long time. In the meantime, the debts kept mounting, and the entire family decided to flee in the night. John, who was driving in the middle of the night, accidentally turned the steering wheel on the mountain road, and the car slid and spun around. As a result, his parents died at the scene, and only he survived. He was left with a large amount of debt with additional medical bills. The debt collector found out where he was, and he was in a desperate situation. He told the debt collector that he would get back together with me, who was making good money, and he would make me pay them back at the funeral. Of course, it was none of my business, and I had no obligation to help him. Please help me out. I have nobody but you now. Let's be married again, love each other, and raise Lydia together. He begged me on his knees. I glared at the man who kept talking selfish nonsense. Enough! You and I are strangers now. There's no way I'm going to attend the funeral of your parents, who are assholes just like you. You made a debt on yourself. Now, get out of here before I call the police. At the mention of the word police, he panicked and walked away. I heard from an acquaintance that he disappeared after the funeral. No one knows where he went, but I don't feel sorry for him because he deserved everything he got. I'm raising my beloved daughter, who is growing up to be a sweet little girl, with the best care I can give her. I'm also determined to do my best at my job and make the most of my life.
My name is Riley. I just can't seem to get anything done in the winter. I'm 45 years old, and I've left my laundry piled up for the past few days. Because my room is on the 4th floor, and it's freezing when I go outside to dry it. Even if I hang the laundry in my room, there's no heating in the passage. I'm too lazy to get out my room. I have to get over my winter-only laziness. Today, I would like to share with you how I have continued to support my husband on rainy days and cold days, no matter how hard it has been for me. I hope you will listen to it. It was a long time ago. After graduating from a college theater group, I joined a theater company run by one of my seniors. It was there that I met Jackson, who later became my husband. He had aspirations of becoming an actor, and to be honest, his acting skills were not spectacular. But when I saw him practicing his lines by himself after everyone else had left, I fell in love with him. And when I was 27 years old, my family was vehemently against me marrying a man with no income. I decided to work harder and managed to convince my family, and we eventually got married. It was a great love affair, almost like eloping. When we decided to get married, I immediately left the theater troupe. I did this to support my husband's dream of becoming an actor. There were not many jobs available at that time, but I continued my desperate job search and I managed to find a job. For a long time after that, I continued to support my husband while working. However, the opportunity for my husband to make a name for himself in the TV world never came. He has become a much better actor than we first met, and the range of roles he can play has expanded. His face is not that latest fashion, but he has a look that could be called a playboy. However, compared to idols who belong to an office, theater troupe member is not at all conspicuous. It was a common story that a young star with no experience in acting and no power would snatch the job from the side. However, After a long and arduous process, a turning point came for my husband. After my college senior, who was the founder of the theater company, quit the company. Before I knew it, he had joined a casting company through an acquaintance in the entertainment business. What is a casting company? They are companies that work between the client, their entertainment agency, and their sponsor to provide casting support for commercials, advertisements, and events. Some of them are run by former managers of entertainment agencies, and they are able to use their contacts from those days to cast good entertainers at a low cost. It is a very convenient company in the industry. And of course, the senior staff who worked there had the authority to suggest entertainers to clients and sponsors. Some of you may have already noticed. This senior employee suggested that my husband, who has yet to see the light of day, be used in a local commercial in our area. My husband was born in that area, and there was a movement to renew the commercials of a local manufacturer. The senior mentioned my husband's name. Since it was a local commercial, there were no rivals, and my husband won the commercial without difficulty. My husband's face became well known among the people to an extent that neither he nor I had imagined. Well, it was aired to certain areas, but the local suites were famous. So gradually, more and more people, young and old, men and women alike, came to know my husband's face, and his radio and other work gradually increased. He also began to appear in commercials and on television, although all of his appearances were local. In an information program, he performed the La 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 dance. The children loved the song because he's not athletic and bad at dance, so he became even more popular. From then on, my husband's attitude in the home gradually changed. I'm a celebrity. I can't walk around in such plain clothes. The food we had at the shoot the other night was delicious. When I go home, the food looks so poor. In short, he began to complain about his current life. By the way, I chose his clothes and I cooked the meals. It was dissatisfaction with the current life, but it could also be taken as dissatisfaction with me. At that time, my husband's income was increasing compared to before. However, since we have been getting by on my income alone, we have almost no savings. I didn't know how long my husband's popularity would last. I was afraid that my husband's popularity would not last long, so we lived frugally and continued to save money. But my husband didn't like that. Why am I, a popular guy in the world, living such a simple life? I felt ashamed, he said to me. I thought he's not that popular, but I decided to tolerate it, and that it may be inevitable that he became big-headed after finally succeeding. It took him a long time to success, so I would tolerate this level of selfishness. If it would motivate my husband, I thought so be it. Then, my husband joined an office and began to work not only in the local area, but also he gradually began to get more and more work in New York. It was like being sold along with a successful star, but he was an added bonus position. But just having your face on TV makes a big difference. Although he was known only to those in the know, my husband's name recognition gradually increased. It was mostly talent work, not acting work as it should have been. But my husband seems to be happy, so I thought it was okay. Then one day, on the day of his appearance at a local event, he told me he was tired and decided to stay at a nearby inn. He did not come back a few days. I could understand if he was working in New York, but he could still come home within 40 minutes when it was in his hometown. If he was tired, wouldn't he come home and take a rest? To be honest, I haven't overlooked the fact that my husband is frequently looking at his cell phone these days. He didn't come home even a week ago because he said he had to attend a sponsor's reception. He has been treating me very roughly lately. The other day, he sighed when he saw my face. I'm tired of seeing your face. I was told, I'm pretty sure that my husband has another woman in his life, and more than one. After I became convinced of this, I began to pay closer attention to my husband's movements than ever before. I found that he was not only frequently looking at his cell phone, but was even taking it into the bathroom with him. I didn't notice it because I usually cooked meals while my husband was taking a bath. Apparently, he was making phone calls in the bathroom, using the sound of the shower as a cover.
It was fun the other night. When can I see you next? I love you too, babe.
They had a chilling conversation that I feel only a cold chill down my spine. If this is what my husband is saying on a daily basis, that he is communicating with a male sponsor, then I would have a chill down my spine, not just up my spine, but all over. Most of the time, 3 days after such a phone call, my husband wouldn't come home on more than one occasion. It was also successfully proven that my husband was having an affair. Just as I predicted, I wonder if he thinks he's fooling me out of it. Just when I was thinking that I was aware of his cheating, the incident happened at dinner time.
Please, divorce me. I'm already popular, and you're no longer of any use to me. I love another girl. I can't love you anymore.
I won't go so far as to say it came out of the blue. It's because it's exactly what I expected. But I wish he would stop mocking me and he was saying, you're no longer needed because I'm popular well and have a girl you like. I have been supporting my husband financially and emotionally for about 20 years since he was unsuccessful. Remembering the time when we first met until today, I felt a few tears welling up in my eyes. I thought, if he is this kind of man, I don't want to be with him either. So I thought to myself, okay, I will leave you. I accepted my husband's request. It was 4 days after I divorced my husband. I had bought the house, so I kicked him out as soon as the divorce was finalized. But he was standing at the door. Do you still have some business with me? I asked him, and he glared at me.
Is it true that you're the writer of a surprise project?
Oh no, did you just find out now? Ha ha ha. Yes, all those girls you like were all my setup. In fact, I was a member of a theater company. I was a playwright who wrote scenarios, not a performer. I got a job after marrying my husband, but I couldn't give up my dream of being a writer. I was sending my works to open competitions for TV programs and so on. One of my seniors at the university who knew of this approached me as well. He said, one of my seniors is a successful writer, so why don't you become his apprentice? A script writer is a person who writes scenarios for TV programs and dramas. This successful writer was also involved in the writing of a number of various shows. At the time, he was the unreachable person for me. I decided to become his apprentice with a simple yes. I continued to submit my work to the show while working and learning the basic of writing. But the role is not easy. No matter how many times I applied, I kept getting rejected. Then, this successful writer reached out to me. He said, why don't you try composing for a local variety show that I'm too busy to work on myself? Of course, I decided to take the job. One of the programs was a surprise program to trick my husband. We set up unsuccessful gravure idols and celebrities to pretend to like him. Then, the program examines whether my husband, who has professed to have a wife, falls for young girls. The girls my husband was playing with in the beginning were before the program started, so he was cheating. But for the last 6 months or so, it's all a setup for a surprise project. I was recording the video in the house when you were here. It was fun. Like when you were saying baby in a cat-like voice.
No way! Don't get carried away! Don't tell me you're going to broadcast that on TV.
It should be on TV, right? It's a project. I'm the planner and writer of the show. and I'm in the better position. It won't be rejected just because you're embarrassed to have it on the air.
Oh my god!
He raised his voice and became flustered. It was good too. You were saying,
Honey, we should play Baby World again.
I didn't know you were into that kind of thing.
What? Oh, you made that up too?
I did. As far as I know, all of them were planned except for the two who were your early flings. About 9 of them. Were you so happy? And you thought you were popular? I'm sorry. He paused in front of my laughing face. I know what kind of girls you like, so I picked the ones who would hook you. I auditioned and chose them. The producers were in a groove. You were talking with girls in Baby Talk. Oh, yeah, this one will air too. A love song starting with I for you, honey.
Huh? A love song to you that's starting with me. My heated heart is a burning heart.
Was it right? We all laughed when we saw that video. I never thought you'd give a song you wrote to a girl. Maybe you're more suited to be a comedian than a TV personality. His face turns red as I sang the lyrics to his embarrassing song. My heated heart is a burning heart. Heating means burning too. What a funny collocation you made. Are you under fire for the public already? Are you okay? Sorry. You don't even want to argue with me. Have you turned to ashes? While I was laughing a lot in front of him, he was nodding his head with his eyes full of tears.
I'm so embarrassed. Please stop it.
I didn't expect that you had such a feeling. But I can't do it. It was really funny. And I will definitely air it.
I'm begging you. You have the power to do something about it.
I'm still a newbie. I don't have the authority to change the content of the show. It's a good thing to you, and you will be more popular.
No, maybe, but that...
Oh, but it's impossible. He's astonished at my phrases. The part will also air that you said to me, I don't need you anymore, and I want a divorce. That part was really frowned upon by the production members. I'm afraid this prank show might be the last one you will ever appear in. I grinned, and he gasped for a moment and scrambled to my feet.
Oh, please. I hope you were joking when you agreed to divorce. It was all my fault, so please edit everything.
What are you talking about?
What?
The divorce wasn't a prank. You're the one who originally proposed the divorce. He is immensely surprised when I answer with a straight face. We were in this prank show, so we had a scenario for our actions. But you, the one who is being surprised, don't have a scenario, do you? That's what I mean. You asked for a divorce, so I said yes, and that's all. The producer was overjoyed that the show related to cheating is really funny, and they will air at all costs. We are getting divorced too. I can't believe that after all this time, you still think your own proposed divorce was a prank. You're an idiot. This is my husband though. Whoops. You're my ex-husband already.
Oh no, I'm sorry, please. I'm sorry. Please reconsider.
No, I'm sorry too. I'm sorry for hiding the prank show. I'm going to air it, and I'm getting a divorce, so please accept my apologies.
That's not an apology at all.
He's upset, but he knew exactly what I mean, and I laughed at him. There was no way I was going to apologize. If he had cheated on me, and it was a prank from the beginning, and I was just taking advantage of the fact that he cheated on me to get revenge. It's not my fault that he cheated on me in the first place. He's an idiot husband of the century. That's what I'm saying, so get the hell out of my house. If you are in front of my house any longer, I'm calling the police. Hey Jackson of La 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 Dance, dancing on his knees to his ex-wife in front of the house like that. If you want to be in the headlines, you can stay there. When I said that much, His face turned blue again, and he said,
All right, I'm leaving.
He picked up the package he dropped on the ground. The husband left with a look of a defeated villain's back. 5 years have passed since then. His popularity naturally fell to the ground immediately after the show aired. He was not that popular in New York, but bad publicity often spreads. This show even led to an increase in the number of people who knew him. Well, the people who knew my ex-husband hated him across the board. He has completely fallen on hard times, said to me, Give me a job with your power. I told him that I would never give him a chance no matter what, and I deleted his number. It seems that there are no more programs featuring him at all. As people on the internet say, they change the channel when he appears on TV and don't want to see his face. He was fired by his agency as soon as his contract with them expired. Because his face is so well known, he's being chased by reporters, and even if he changed jobs, he could not continue, so he remains unemployed. Some of the jobs seems to have incurred penalties, and since the office would not accept it, so it became his debt. I hope that he should not forget to pay me alimony because I allow him a small amount every month. On the other hand, I was asked several times to produce programs after that because the show was a big hit. Thankfully, I ended up writing a scenario for a drama, although it is in the late night slot. I'm not a top-notch writer, but I think I'm steadily approaching my own desire. Above all, even though I'm a late bloomer, I'm happy that my dream has come true. I've quit my corporate job, and I'm working on screenplays at my own pace. I'm not ready to be a housewife again, and I haven't remarried. This is a kind of joy that makes me feel more alive than when I was married. A woman who took a leap of faith by using her husband as a stepping stone to revenge. My current dream is to dramatize my life. Well, I'd have to become a screenwriter and famous enough to be pleased with a dramatization. It's always happy to have goals or dreams that I want to achieve. I truly believe that.